that it?
Is that everyone? Oh, we have one more.
You're killing me.
Go ahead and take a seat. Is that at the very end?
We'll do it at the very end, okay.
Oh, that was mine. How did it get there?
Right here.
Alright. Let's see.
Now I'm gonna take a wild shot here. We're making another one.
Now it's just
So what was different about that time compared to the first? Any answers good? Yes.
Oh, we were given an objective before we made a plan.
Good.
The
Yes.
target was bigger.
All right. Anything else?
We had to stand at a certain point.
Yes.
We were able to learn from each other's mistakes and victories.
Good.
It was more organized.
And why was that?
We were told that we had to throw like one person at a time.
Mm-hmm.
so you had a goal and you knew, okay, this is what I'm aiming for. Punny. So yeah, in chapter it's important to set goals, but it's also like, what would have made this easier?
Mari.
Teamwork and delegation.
Good. Good. Anything else?
Like actually knowing how to make a good airplane that would go straight and stay in the air for a long time.
You had your hand up?
Kind of the same thing.
All right.
Science.
Science, yes. Science is all around you. Yeah, so having a clear set of instructions is really important, especially in the chapter setting, and really in any setting in your life. So like, how do you communicate instructions throughout chapter?
Examples.
Like,
What do your
you have
chapters
an-
do?
Yeah.
We have meetings and we discuss about everything that we're going to be doing within the next week and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meetings.
Yes.
Also, kind of more inside is with committees. We also like plan out what we want to do, eliminate things that we don't want to do, and then finally come down to a conclusion.
Okay.
We have Google Drive documents with instructions and such.
Yeah, so like when one officer leaves office and another one is installed, a lot of chapters use this thing called an SOP, which is a standard operating procedure. And it's just an outline of all the duties that the chapter, that chapter officer has to do, and instructions on how to do it if it's something more difficult. If it's like a huge event like Band Day, there's like step-by-step instructions on how to do it to make it, what's the word I'm looking for?
Successful.
A smooth transition.
Successful. And then at the bottom, there's a lot of like tips from other like past people, not just the immediate past person who was doing that.
So just out of curiosity, do we have any chapter officers here? Good. Let's start with you. So what position are you?
I'm the historian alumni secretary.
All right. How did your transition go when you were elected?
It went fairly smooth.
And why was that?
The past has, as we call it, gave me a charter with an email with the charter of my duties and what I was supposed to do.
So you had a clear set of instructions.
Yes.
Anyone else want to give an example? An officer transition? Yes.
I guess I'm the director of service at Theta. I replaced Don Janey in the position. It was an interesting transition for me because kind of what we discussed was how things didn't work a lot of the time. So I am kind of, with my chapter, trying to find new things that'll work perhaps in a better way. So it was more of a, we shouldn't continue to do it this way. I'm leaving you to find things to do it a new way.
Yeah.
So maybe there weren't, it was what didn't work in the experiments that have been tried, which is valuable that we don't repeat bad mistakes. So if your airplane didn't work the first time, it's not like it worked the second time. So we learned off that, but it wasn't a how to build a good airplane, if that makes sense.
Right.
At the same time, what would have been helpful for me is to have a list of contacts given to me for local band directors in the area, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've been kind of like a little bit.
So it sounds like your transition was more goal oriented rather
Yes.
than this is how you do your
Nitty-gritty,
job.
yes. It was, hey, we want to put together this site reading. We want to. It didn't work for us last year, but we really think we want to make it work this year. Go make it work, as opposed to, these are the goals we have in mind for your position, as opposed to, this is how the position works with the nitty-gritty.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's like, you have to couple your goals with instructions on how to do it. in order to have that like consistency from one executive board to the next, to the next, to the next, or from one event to the next, et cetera, et cetera. And like, part of what helps keep that constant is all of you should have a chapter constitution. And in that, it explains a lot of like the procedures, for example, how your membership education program works, or how, what else is in there?
For Gamma Kappa, for the treasurer position, it's, you know, what are your duties as treasurer, which is maintain a budget and ledger. It also has instructions for payment plans in our chapter for those who can't, you know, pay $100 upfront at the beginning of the semester. And so it's a clear set of instructions.
Yeah. What else do we have?
Between offices.
Oh yeah. So what if you have an event that's like falls under both service and fundraising and alumni? How do you communicate between those officers?
Because I'm treasurer for Eta Omega TBS, what I do is I either text them or email them and set up a time where we can all meet, sit down and talk about like what they need, how much money they need, what do we need to complete the task.
Yeah, awesome. Anyone else?
I'll share an example. At NAU, we do an event called Jazz Festival, where we have high school jazz programs come to our campus and they compete. And that is a huge project between service and the treasurer, because we do a fundraiser there. So it's about, what we do is, I would meet with our service coordinator, who was Callie at the time, and basically figure out, what do you need to complete your service, and then what do I have to use for fundraising. That way, you know, we're not butting heads during the entire weekend.
Yeah. So communication is key, definitely in anything you do. You need to make sure everyone's kind of on the same page. And along that lines, we said chapter meetings, but how else can we communicate to your chapter about, say you have a really great idea for service or a new fundraising idea, or just something that you think is really great? How do you communicate those ideas to your chapter?
You can write it down first off, so you don't forget it, and then communicate it at like your next meeting or such.
Yeah. So how do you want to communicate it at your meeting?
Maybe confront the person who's the committee head and, you know, ask them about it. Be like, hey, I think this idea would be pretty cool, and you know, get feedback from them.
Awesome.
At Theta, we have a submission form on our website for new service ideas. So, you know, people can, you know, put down relevant information that they have that they think that would make the project drive forward, and they can submit the form. We have not had a lot of success with this, but it's a way to do it.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just gonna say that when I have a new idea for service or a brotherhood event or something, then I usually go and talk to whoever the committee head is, just so that I can say, this is an idea I have, can we like develop this into an idea? And I go to our committee meetings for that area and talk to them about it. So.
I go to Alpha and Eta Omega, we have committees that we do. So they're pretty much open. If you have an idea for something, you're allowed to come to that committee meeting and present it to us.
Okay, so your committee meetings are open to anyone in chapter.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's a great way to do it. Is like inviting other, like just normal chapter members to come in and be like, if you have a great idea for service, come in and like let us know during our service meeting, or a fundraising idea during our fundraising committee meeting.
Whichever your chapter does it.
Yeah, I mean, that's not what ours is called, so that's why. Sorry. Also, okay. Yeah. So how is communication important within the band program? Are any of you leaders in your band program? Yeah, so how do you guys do that?
Well, we have for Fresno State, we have a Facebook band page, and I'm the librarian for the marching band. So what I do is I post whenever I have hours that I'm available to either make copies or print music for people. That's one way I do it. Another way is I'll make a band announcement after we're done having a rehearsal. I'll say, if you guys need to talk to me about getting music, section leaders come meet with me so I can know how many people are in your section, so I can have the right amount of numbers to print. Meet me over in this certain location so that I can talk with people about it, about what they need, so that I can fulfill their needs.
So it's not only through online means, it's also in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely important. Okay. So what makes communication effective? Like, what, okay.
You can have different creative minds bounce off the same idea, so you can really expand on things.
Yeah, and like what else goes into when someone communicates something to you and you know it's like that they're really passionate about it, that's something that goes into it. Because if someone comes up to you with an idea and they're just kind of like flat with their voice or whatever, you're like, I don't know, I'm not convinced. So having like building those skills to help you communicate effectively is definitely a major thing.
So we have one more task for you. This time, your goal is to build another airplane that you are going to throw from the back of this room to those targets. However, we have instructions for you. So these are going to be up here. Go ahead and come up and grab one, or whichever you want.
Better than a herd of banquets.
Oh, there's actually different ones. There's actually 5 different ones. So reference.
I got 4 different ones, so.
Hey, get a choose.
Go with this one.
I'll try the camera.
I'll try it now.
You really want this? If you don't like that one, then
Maybe you guys
All right, guys.
don't need to be these.
No, his mistake.
That's a whole bunch of different
How
ones.
many
So you
people
got
are
3 of
trying
them.
to get with it?
Very stable.